let's start with the prayers all together. Om Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharyamadhyamam Asmadacharyaparyantam Vande Guru Paramparam Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade
Kamarupini
Vidyarambam
Karyami
Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada Om Sahana
Bhavatu
Sahana
Bhunaktu
Sahaviryam
Karavavahai
Tejasvi
Tamastu Ma Vishaya
Om
Shanti Shanti Shanti
Vasudevendra
Yogindram
Natva
Natvagnanapradam Guru
Mumukshunam
Mukshunam Hitarthaya
Tattvabodha
Tattvabodha.
Om Namah Shivaya.
Om Namah Shivaya.
Okay, so what were we talking about last class?
Karanam Shariram.
Right, we finished Karana Shariram, and Karana Shariram is the third one of
Three Shariram.
Three
Shariram.
Shariratrayam. Okay, so it is the third one among the Shariratrayam. What are the other two?
Sthula and Sukshma.
Sthula Shariram, Sukshma Shariram. Okay, and Karana Shariram. What is Sukshma Shariram in English?
Subtle.
And what is Sthula Sharira in English?
Gross.
And Karanam? Causal body. Okay, so this is the three bodies, and we started this topic. Why? Because we were talking about the different types of anathma. Okay, the student had asked the question, what is Atma? And the teacher started explaining what is anathma. Because first you have to understand what is not Atma in order to understand what is Atma. Okay, so we have started a kind of elimination process. So that is why first he said, Sthula Sukshma Karana Sharira Vyatiriktaha, different from Sthula Sukshma and Karana Shariram. He said this Atma is not any of this three bodies. Then there is one more classification that he had mentioned. He said Avastha Traya Sakshi. And today we are going to be seeing what is Avastha Trayam. So now the student also remembers this. So he has asked a question, what is Avastha Trayam? We'll read this. Avastha Trayam Kim?
Avastha Trayam Kim?
Jagrat Swapna Sushuptyavasthaha.
Jagrat Swapna Sushuptyavasthaha.
Okay, so this is pretty straightforward. The student has just asked the question, what is Avastha Trayam? What are these three states of experience? Okay, and the teacher has just listed the names. Then he will explain each one. But here it is just the names he has mentioned. So there are three, Jagrat, Swapna and Sushupti. Okay, Jagrat, Swapna and Sushupti. Now, many of you are yoga teachers, so you can tell me what is Jagrat Avastha?
Awake. Waking state.
The waking state of experience. And what is Swapna Avastha?
The dream state. Dreaming state.
The dream state of experience. And what is Sushupti?
The deep sleep.
The deep sleep state of experience. So we have three states of experience: waking, dream, and deep sleep. And it's fairly straightforward. We all have experience of all these three states, right? So, but despite that, we still have to see what the author has to say about each of these states. So that's what we will do now. And it starts with Jagrat Avastha. Student asks a question and the teacher answers. So we will read this. Jagrat Avastha ka
Jagradavastha
श्रोत्रादि ज्ञानेन्द्रियैः
श्रोत्रादीनान्द्रियैः
शब्दादि विषयैश्च
शब्दादिविषयश्च
ज्ञायते इति या सा जाग्रदवस्था
ज्ञायते
स्थूलशरीराभिमानी
स्थूलशरीराभिमानी
आत्मा विश्व इत्युच्यते.
आत्मा विश्व इत्युच्यते.
So now let me just mute everybody and then we will see Jagrata Avastha. Okay. So the first one is Jagrata Avastha, the waking state of experience. Now we're all awake right now, hopefully, all of us. I hope nobody is dozing off. So this is the waking state of experience. In this waking state of experience, there are two unique features. Okay, the first unique feature of the waking state is that the sense organs are active. All the sense organs are active. Which means what? That all the sense objects are available to the sense organs and they can grasp the information. To put it simply, the eyes can see, the ears can hear, the skin can feel, the tongue can taste, and the nose can smell. So all these are available to us. Okay. Now for this interaction, this transaction, two entities are required. One is the sense organ and one is the sense object, right? The organ also must be active and the world also must be available for you to grasp. So two things are needed. Two factors are needed for this transaction, the sense organ and the sense object. Okay. So this is the unique one, the first unique feature of the waking state, that the world is also available and the sense organs are also active, and so there is a transaction between the two. And what is the nature of that transaction? The sense objects, the sense organs are able to grasp the information. Okay, so this is a first unique feature. And the second one is that every time there is an interaction of sense organ and object, what happens? There is an internal reaction. There is an experience of that, right? And that experience can be pleasure or pain, broadly classified, pleasure or pain. Okay, so finally, the whole life is a series of experiences of pleasure and pain that is based on these interactions. Okay, so these are the two unique features. There is interaction and there is interaction based internal reaction. So to give you an example, if I hold this pen, this blue color pen, because my eyes are active, I am able to see this pen. And let us say I like the color blue, so it makes me happy. So there is a transaction of me seeing the pen and also there is a reaction of me being happy. Okay, so two things, the internal reaction and the external transaction. These are the two unique features of the Jagrat Avastha. This is what the author is also saying in this verse. He says, Shrotradi. What is Shrotram?
Hearing.
Listen.
Ears. Ears. Okay. Shrotram is the ears. Now, what is the Vishaya for Shrotram? First of all, what is Vishaya?
Subject.
No, not Hindi meanings, please.
Sound.
Sound is the correct answer, but what is Vishaya when it comes to sense organs?
Sensation.
Vishaya refers to the function or the field of activity of that sense organ. So for ears, what is the Vishaya? What is the function of the ears?
Sound waves.
Sound.
Rasping sound is the Vishaya for the ears. Get it now? So Vishaya has to be understood as the function or the field for that organ. Okay, and this is important. I know there are other meanings associated with the word Vishaya, but this whole text is to redefine your meanings. Okay, only then the framework will set in correctly. So for Shrotram, the Vishaya is Shabda, and that is what he says. He says Vishaya also, he says Shabda. And he says the word Adi. Adi means etc. Ears, etc. Jnanendriya. There are Jnanendriyas. There are Jnanendriyas, and he says ears, etc. These sense organs. Shabdadi Vishaya. Shabda is the sound, Adi is etc. So sound, etc. functions or fields. So which means you have to take all five of them with their matching Vishaya. Okay, for eyes it will be sight. For the skin it will be the sensation or the feeling. Okay, and so on. So you have to add it. Etc. means you have to supply it. So all of these are there. He's talking about now the sense organs and their objects. So the objects are also available and the sense organs are also active. That is what he is telling. Nyayate. Nyayate means experienced. So these objects are experienced by the sense organs. Itiyasa Jagrat Avastha. Itiyasa means that which is like this is called Jagrat Avastha. Okay, the waking state. So in other words, the sense organs are active and they can catch the information coming in from the world. Is this clear?
Yes.
Okay. Now, although it is not mentioned here, it can indirectly be also extended to the organs of action, meaning the organs of action are also active and their functions are also available. Okay, it's not mentioned but can be extended. Now I hope previously we had discussed about the difference between Indriyam and Golakam, and I hope that you all remember that difference. So what is the difference or what is the relationship between Indriyam and Golakam?
Medhaji, Golakam is the physical body,
Mm-hmm.
and Indriyam is the is this it's not an organ, but it's between the organ and the perception of that particular the function. Is it the function?
Yes. Golakam, like you said, is the physical part, the anatomical organ.
Yeah.
And Indriyam is the power behind that organ, the invisible energy that makes that organ operational.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the difference and the relationship between the two. The Indriyam is what enlivens the Golakam. So there are people who, despite having eyes, are unable to see. So the Golakam is there, but the Indriyam is not there. Okay, so this you have to understand. And Golakam belongs to the Sthula Shariram, the physical body, and Indriyam belongs to Sukshma Shariram, the subtle body. Okay, it is the power or the energy behind that organ that operates or makes that organ alive. Sukshma Shariram is what makes the body alive. This has to be remembered. A living being is only living because of Sukshma Shariram. If Sukshma Shariram is not there, then it becomes a non-living body. Okay, so this is the difference. So this Golakam and Indriyam, they have a intricate, intimate relationship. Without one, the other will not work, right? And when we had seen Sukshma Sharira and Sthula Sharira, we said that the physical body is like the abode or the residence for the Sukshma, right? It's like the hardware and the software of the phone, right? You have the hardware part and then the invisible software part, which is located in the phone itself, which makes the phone alive. If the software part is not there, it's just a dead phone, right? No use from that. But can the software exist independently without the hardware part of the phone? That is also not possible. So both are needed in order for the phone to be a useful phone, right? So it is the same with the body also. The body is alive only because of Sukshma Shariram. And same way, all these organs, the Golakams, are operated or enlivened by this Indriyam. Okay, so this is the relationship between them, and they both are necessary in order for that organ to be active. Now, is it enough if only Golakam and Indriyam both are there? Is that enough, or is something little more also needed?
More is definitely needed. And
In the form of?
The drive or the thinking power, what is right, what is wrong.
The mind is needed.
Mind, yeah.
Not just for what is right, wrong, but just to coordinate the information coming in, right? Just to direct the Indriyams. Okay. So this mind is needed to process the information that is coming in and also to give direction to the Indriyams. Now, you may have heard of the word Pratyahara. From where is this word Pratyahara from?
8 limbs of yoga.
8 limbs of Patanjali's yoga. And what is Pratyahara?
To withdraw all senses.
To withdraw the senses. This is the standard definition given everywhere. To withdraw the senses is Pratyahara. Now, is it withdrawal of Indriyam or is it withdrawal of Golakam?
Indriyas.
Indriyam. It is not
Maybe
possible.
the mind.
It is, yes, using the mind, withdrawing the Indriyam. It is not possible to withdraw the Golakam. Your eyes are where they are. There's no possible way to withdraw it anywhere, right? Your ears are where they are. How do you withdraw the ears further in? It's not possible. So what it means is withdrawing the Indriyam. The power behind that organ is withdrawn. Okay. So whenever next time you hear Pratyahara, you must remember it is referring to the Indriyam and not the Golakam. This distinction must be there. Okay. So sometimes even though the Golakam is there, if the Indriyam is withdrawn, then there is no operation or sensation. There is a story of Swami Vivekananda. He went to the forest to meditate, and by evening he didn't come back. So all the people went searching for him, that where is he? And then they found him sitting under a tree, and he had taken off his shirt and he was sitting there, and his back was black in color. And the people were, kind of shocked. What is the black color on his back? And when they went closer, it was mosquitoes. That many mosquitoes were sitting on his back that the whole thing appeared as though it was black in color. And Swami Vivekananda had not even realized that he was being bitten by so many mosquitoes. Why? Because total Pratyahara. He was totally into his meditation. Okay, so this is the idea of Pratyahara. Now, we need not go to yogi level to understand the concept of Pratyahara. It happens to all of us without, control. What we call as distraction. So you're sitting in the class, the words of the teacher are falling on the ears, but still no information is being processed, right? We call this physically present, mentally absent, right? It happens frequently in school and sometimes in Tattvabodha class also. So this basically is another form where the mind, Indriya and Golakam all need to work in order for you to get that information. Now, why we are talking about all this is because this, this mind associates or identifies with the Golakam and the Indriya. Do you understand? It is connected to the Indriyam and the Golakam. So you are basically identified with the Sukshma and the Sthula Shariram. Do you understand what this means? That you are connected to these two bodies. You are identified or associated with these two bodies. And that is what the author is telling here. He says, Sthula Sharira Abhimani. This word breaks as Abhimani. Now this Abhimani is not the Hindi Abhimani. This Abhimani means identification. Okay, identified with the Sthula Shariram. Identification with the physical body. And how do you do that? Obviously, with the backing of the Sukshma Sharira. Right? Sukshma Sharira is required. Otherwise, the body is not a living body. There's no more identification possible. So even though he has not mentioned Sukshma Sharira, it has to be supplied and it has to be understood that way. That this Sthula Sharira backed by the Sukshma Shariram, and when this identification happens, that entity is called as Vishwa. Okay, so the one identified with the physical body, in brackets backed by subtle body, that entity is called as Vishwa, and obviously this is in the waking state. Only in the waking state you have identification with your physical body. Okay, the sense organs are active, they are backed by the necessary indriyam, right? And you are identified or you are associated with those physical organs which are obviously backed by that subtle organ. And that entity in the waking state is called as Vishwa. Now you can treat Vishwa as a proper noun. It is a name. Okay. So the entity is called as Vishwa. Ityuchyate is two words. Iti Uchyate means it is called. So it is called as Vishwa. Here the word Atma refers to you or the individual. So you, the individual in the waking state who is identified with the physical body backed by the subtle body, is called as Vishwa. Okay, is this clear?
Yes.
I have a question.
Yeah.
You just gave the example of Swami Vivekananda. Does it mean that when he was meditating, he was not in a waking state?
He was, yes, not in a waking state.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, any other questions?
No.
Please, could you repeat that last sentence, the entire thing?
Okay, so the individual in the waking state who is identified with the physical body
Thank
backed by the subtle body is called as Vishwa.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so now we can move on to the second of the Avastha Trayam, which is called as Swapna Avastha, the dream state. So we can read this. Swapna Avastha Keti Chet Jagradavasthayam Yadrishtam Yachrutam Tajjanita Vasanaya Nidra Samaye Yav Prapanchaha Pratiyate Sa Swapnavastha Sukshma Sharirabhimani Atma Taijasa Ityuchyate. So now we are going to see about the dream state, Swapna Avastha. So the student has asked Swapna Avastha, which is Swapna Avastha. This is Ka iti chet. Okay, it breaks as Ka iti chet. It means Ka means what? Iti chet means if it is asked. So if it is asked what is Swapna Avastha, that is the student's words, and the teacher answers the question. So whenever we are in the waking state, we are having all these experiences, right? We have the interaction with the outside world and we have some internal experience also. Now the mind is such a sophisticated device or instrument that is available to us that it is constantly recording everything that is happening. So not only does it record the audio video, it records the other three sensations also, the touch, the smell and the taste. So all these 5 forms of input are continuously recorded in the waking state. And on top of that, any internal reaction that you have to the experience, that is also recorded. So from the moment you wake up till the moment you sleep, the entire waking duration in all the 5 forms is recorded along with whatever thoughts and emotions you're having throughout the day. So it is a constant recording mechanism. Now, even though this recording is happening, sometimes you may say that I can't remember everything, right? You definitely can't remember what you had for breakfast 1 year ago on this day, right? It's difficult to remember that. But that doesn't mean that it was not recorded. It was very much recorded. It's just that the access to that particular memory is little difficult. If you try, probably you can reach that memory. And of course, in yoga and in modern psychology, there are many techniques that help you explore your memory. Okay, so it means it is there somewhere. The access is difficult. Now, in order for that recall to be strong, there are two methods. The first method for a strong recall or a strong memory is repetition. So in school, you may remember you had some exam and then you had to memorize everything. And so just repeat the whole thing 5 times, 10 times, 15 times, and then it stays somewhat, and then you can use it in the exam. So this is one way, repetition. Okay, the more and more you do a particular activity, the more and more the memory becomes strong. Then the second way is through intense emotion. Okay, whenever you have intense emotion, the focus is kind of sharpened at that point and the memory becomes quite strong, and so the recall also becomes very easy. So for example, movies. Okay, so one of the examples I can share with you is my father. When he was a teenager, he had seen some movies in the theater and he had just seen them once. Okay, so that time, in those days, watching a movie was a luxury. So he just saw them once. And now, even today, like some 40, 50 years later, he still remembers every dialogue. He can tell what dialogue comes next. He remembers all the song lyrics. He remembers the whole movie. So you can imagine with how much intensity he had watched it when he was young. So this, intensity sharpens that memory. Of course, this is kind of not in our control. How intense we are is not, it's not something that is controllable by us. And so repetition gives you a better edge if you really have to memorize something. Okay, but these are the two ways in which the memory can be strong and the recall can become easy. Okay. Now, all the things that are recorded from not just this life, but from all the previous lives also, all of that is stored. In which part of the mind? Out of the 4 aspects of the mind, which one is memory?
Subconscious mind.
Buddhi. Chitta.
Chitta. That's right, Chitta. Chitta is the storehouse of the memories, and not just of this life, but from all your previous lives. Okay. So all these memories are stored, and these memories, these impressions, we call them as vasanas. All the registered experiences are called as vasanas. Okay, they're an imprint on the mind. And in fact, this is one of the explanations that we give for things like child prodigies. So you may have seen there are small children who, display exceptional skills like singing or dancing or musical instrument or mathematics. So small children, just 4 years old or 5 years old, and they have such prowess that it is much greater than a person who has spent 30, 40 years of their life in that field sometimes. So this is because of the vasanas. Okay, the memories from a previous life. It can be from this life also. So vasanas are the impressions on the mind. Now when death happens, the Sukshma Shariram travels along with these vasanas. And this vasana is carried from life to life. Every life it is available. You may not be able to access everything, but it is there. Okay. Now what happens is when you go to sleep, the record feature is switched off and the replay switch feature comes on. So basically, dreams are a replay of your experiences that are recorded during the waking time and are now replayed, playback mode. Okay, so basically, dreams are just a projection of the vasanas. There are no new experiences that are gathered in the dream. The dream is only a replay of old memories. Now, it sometimes feels like this dream is totally new. I have never seen this, whatever I'm seeing in the dream. It seems as though it is a fresh experience. But that is because either you don't remember that memory and so it feels like a new experience, or second, it can be a mix and match of 2-3 memories. So if you take half from this memory, half from that memory and combine, it appears as though it is a new experience. Okay, but it is actually just based on 2 or 3 or a combination of different memories. Okay, and it's not just that, it can be an experience from a previous life also, which you don't remember. Sometimes even our imagination or thoughts from the waking state, these also feature in the dreams. These are also played back in the dreams, even imagination. So some people claim that I saw the future, I saw something happen in the dream. Now, that is not the case. Dreams do not reveal anything new, they do not gather anything new, they are just playback of the old memories. So what feels like, oh, I have predicted the future, is probably just taken from the imagination during the waking state. Okay, and if there is really somebody who is able to predict the future, then we don't call that a dream anymore. We call that as ESP, extrasensory perception. And that is a different topic altogether. Okay, and we are not going to be discussing that in Vedanta. Okay, so this is the dream state. Now let's see what the author has to say about this. He says, Jagrad Avasthayam, in the waking state, Yadrishtam, whatever is seen, Yat Shrutam, whatever is heard, Tad Janita Vasanaya. Vasanas are born out of these experiences of whatever is seen and whatever is heard. So Vasana is the name of that impression, and Tat Janita means born out of that. Janita is born, Tat refers to these experiences. Okay, so Tat Janita Vasanaya means born out of the vasanas that are born out of the experience of whatever is seen, whatever is heard in the waking state. What happens to all that? Nidra Samaye, at the time of sleep. Samaye is time, at the time, Nidra is sleep. So at the time of sleep, Yaha Prapanchaha, this world, so the dream world, Pratyahara is projected or is experienced. Okay, so that world is experienced. That world is called as Swapna Avastha. So that dream world is what he is referring to as Swapna Avastha. Is this clear? Any questions till now?
Yeah.
Yes.
It varies from person to person. Some people get horrifying dreams and, they get so much disturbed. So, you can say it is pathological in that way. They don't. So, is it just the past life or?
Past memories of this life and all your previous lives.
Okay.
So it can be good dreams, it can be bad dreams. Sometimes it is dependent on the state of your mind before you go to sleep. Many times it is that. If the mind is under a lot of stress, then you tend to have bad dreams.
Yeah. Thank you.
Medha ji,
Yes.
how about like some people do not remember their dreams? They know they dreamt something, but they do not know what they dreamed. So, what avastha that we will be classifying?
The dream is itself Swapna Avastha. You just can't remember it in the waking state. So you just can't access that memory. That's all.
Is it a good thing or bad thing?
Well, if it was a good dream, then probably a bad thing. But if it was a bad dream, probably it's a good thing.
Thank
That's a
you.
brilliant answer.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I just
I have a question.
yes, please.
Yeah, in continuation of previous questions, it's right that sometimes we remember our dreams and sometimes we can't. So what's that state when we can remember? What's that state when we can't remember?
It's just the memory.
Okay.
Many dreams you actually can't remember right now if you think about it. It's just about the memory. It's kind of fresh when you wake up, so you kind of tend to remember it. But as the day goes on, it wears off. Just the memory kind of
Means
fades.
in my case, I can remember most of my dreams. Means am I again viewing it? Am I again recording it? Or just replaying? Or both happening at a time?
In the waking state, both can happen. Replay and
Okay.
record can happen. But in the dream state, only replay happens. In the dream, you don't know you're in the dream, right? When you're dreaming. When you're
Like most of
dreaming,
the,
most of the time, you never know actually that you're in the dream. Only when you wake up, you realize, oh, I was dreaming.
right.
Okay.
Medha ji, I have a question.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to know this avastha, whether it includes or whether we are in a state of the manas, buddhi and chitta, all are taking part in it, or only the physical body or only the mind. So just wanted to, because the
When
physical
it,
body, as we say, that it is sleeping. So
yeah, we are coming to
which
that.
avastha these two?
I will answer that. So we're coming to that.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So let me just mute everyone again. Right. So in the waking state, what happens is that there is an experience of the objective external world. Now, see these words, objective external world. Objective means what? That there is a commonality for all people, right? If I hold this pen is available to me, it is available to you, it is available to everybody. Everyone can see it. If you're nearby, you can hold it. So basically it is there for everybody, right? It is common. If I say there is a tree over there, the tree is there for everybody. If you go or if I go or if somebody else goes, for everyone that tree is there. So it is the objective external world. Whereas the dream is a subjective internal world. Internal means what? Within the mind, right? And subjective means what? It is available only to me. My dream is available only to me. My dream is not available to anybody else. I cannot share it with anybody else, right? And if in my dream, I have this pen, is it possible for me to give you this pen from my dream? No. It is not possible for me to give this pen from my dream to your dream or to you or in any way, right? This pen is only available within that dream world. And that dream world is only available to me. And that is why subjective internal world. So that is the difference between the waking state and the dream state. Objective external world and subjective internal world. Okay. Now, in this dream state, you are identified with the vasanas, right? The projected memories is what you are associated with. So in other words, you are associated with the Sukshma Shariram only. As we have discussed, the body goes to sleep. So when you are sleeping, even if a mosquito bites you, you don't know, you don't react to it. So the body is, you're not identified with the body anymore. You're only identified with the Sukshma Shariram and more specifically the Vasanas. And so that is why the author says Sukshma Sharira Abhimani. Abhimani again means identification. So identified with this Sukshma Shariram, this individual is called as Taijasa. Okay, the individual who is identified with the Sukshma Sharira only is named as Taijasa. Ityuchyate means iti uchyate, it is called. Atma here refers to you, the individual. Okay, is this clear? Okay.
What is Tejas?
Taijasa is a name, the name of the individual who is identified with the Sukshma Shariram. Now, it is just different names from different points of view. So, in the waking state, we called it as, what did we call it as?
Visha.
Vishwa. And now we are calling it as?
Okay, Tejas.
Taijasa. Okay. So the individual in the waking state who is identified with both the physical and subtle body, he is called as Vishwa. And the individual in the dream state who is identified with the Sukshma Sharira is called as Taijasa. So it is just relative points of view. We are naming the things from different points of view. That's all. Okay. Now, in Vedanta, the relevance of the dream state, why we study the dream state, is to understand the relationship between the dream state and the waking state. Okay, the dream world is basically mithya prapancha. What is mithya?
False.
Dependent existence.
Dependent existence.
Illusion.
Sorry?
Illusion.
No,
Maya.
we do not use those words right now.
Okay.
Okay. So we say dependent existence. And what was the example given for mithya?
Gold and the necklace.
Rope and snake.
No.
Gold and the necklace.
Gold and the necklace, wood and the table, whatever you like to take. If you take gold and the necklace is mithya, gold is satyam. Why? Because necklace is nothing other than gold. It is just a name and form of the gold. And so that is why it is mithya. Can the necklace exist independently from the gold? If I say, you keep the gold, give me the necklace, is that possible?
No, it is not possible.
Right? It is not possible to have the necklace exist separately or independently from the gold. So the necklace has a dependent existence on the gold. And that is why the necklace is called as mithya. So the technical definition of the word mithya is dependent existence. And this is very, 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 very important. You can mark it with multiple stars if you like. It is that important. This is one of the foundation topics of Vedanta, the crux, the core. Okay. So this idea has to be very properly assimilated. Okay, so this is mithya, dependent existence. And this will keep coming up as you start Bhagavad Gita and other texts. So please do remember this. Now, this mithya means dependent existence. Now, the dream world is mithya. Why? Because it is dependent on me for its existence. If I am not there, can my dream exist?
No.
No, right? The dream needs me. If I'm not there, how can the dream be there? My own dream needs me to exist. And moreover, when you are in the dream, you don't realize you are in the dream. Only on waking up, you realize that, okay, I am not the dream me, I am the waking me. You realize that, right? So, whatever was happening in the dream, if you had a bad dream, if there's a tiger chasing you in the dream, you're very panicked. But when you wake up, you realize the tiger can't touch you in the waking world. So, that is the relationship between the waking and the dream states. Now, why we talk about this is because this is the same relationship which will be explored when it comes to self-realization. Okay, so this world is mithya. The waking world is itself mithya, meaning it does not exist independently. It is dependently existent on something else. And that something else is what we call as absolute reality or Brahman or whatever you want to. It has many names. So that absolute reality is what supports this world, this waking world. So this world is also like the dream world in the sense that it is mithya, dependently existent. Okay, and when you are in this world, you don't realize, just like how when you are in the dream, you don't realize, everything seems very real to you. But when you are in the waking world also, it seems like everything is very real. But that is not the case. Okay, so this is about the dream. Any questions?
Raji, I have a question. So a lot of times while dreaming, I do actually realize that it's a dream. What does that mean? Like, I know that this is not real. That
Then you are about to wake up. You're in the process of waking up.
Is that you? In dream also you are dreaming. You know that you are dreaming.
Then you are in the process of, about to get up.
Yes.
The dream will not continue much longer beyond that point.
Excuse me, I have a question.
Yes.
Then in a way this body is a mithya?
Yes. Not just the body, everything is mithya. Everything that you can see, touch, feel, hear, everything.
In waking state, I am seeing all over, it's all mithya.
Yes. The world, including your body, including your mind, is also mithya.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Yes. So let's try to finish the last one. Sushupti, Avastha. Ata Sushupti ka
अथ सुषुप्तावस्था
Aham kimapi na janami
Aham kimapi na janami
Sukhena maya
sukhena maya
Nidranubhuyat
nidranubhuyata
Iti Sushuptyavastha
इति
sushuptyavastha
Karana Sharirabhimani
karana sharirabhimani
Atma Prajna Ityuchyate.
atma pragya ityuchyate.
So now the question is about Sushupti Avastha, the deep sleep state. Now, please do remember that this state is different from the dream state. Okay, dream state, there is still, some amount of mental activity in the form of the projected vasanas. But in Sushupti Avastha, it is a total resolution of the mind. The mind and the sense organs, everything is totally resolved or dormant. Okay, and it is deep sleep state. So in the deep sleep state, is there, the external world? Can you see the external world in deep sleep?
No.
No.
Can you see any kind of projected world like the vasanas or dreams?
No.
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 No. Can you have thoughts or emotions?
No.
No.
Can you have any input from any of the sense organs?
No.
No.
You are in deep sleep.
No.
You are in
You
deep
don't.
sleep. So it is
Yes.
an experience of nothing, right? You don't
Yes.
even know your own name in deep sleep, right?
Mm. Yes.
So it is a total resolution and it is a total ignorance. There is no thought, no emotion. You have forgotten all your problems and worries. It's not that they have vanished. It's just that right now you are completely resolved. Okay, so that is the state of deep sleep. There is no experience, or there is an experience of nothing. Okay, so this is what the author is telling. He says, Aham kimapi na janami. Janami means to know, na janami means don't know. So I don't know anything, including who I am. So aham means I, kim means who,
Mm. Mm.
api means even. So I don't even know who I am. I don't know anything. So once you sleep, it doesn't matter whether you're sleeping on the floor or whether you're sleeping on the softest bed also, right? It doesn't matter what is your name or any of your problems or worries, any of even the good things also you don't register. So there is no knowledge, thoughts, emotions, nothing whatsoever. So that is why aham kimapi na janami. I don't even know who I am. And because of this total lack or absence of problems, worries, all these things, sukhena, there is also total comfort. That's why after a good sleep, you feel very positive, you feel rested. When you wake up, you say, I slept well. So, sukhena.
So when you
Maya,
are no more.
sorry?
When you are no more, then also you don't feel anything.
Possibly. I don't know anyone who has experienced and remembers
You,
it.
you don't come
Yes.
to know after that because you don't become alive, no?
Mm.
Okay, so Maya means by me. Nidra anubhuyata. Anubhuyata means experienced. Nidra means sleep. So this sleep is experienced by me and with total happiness, with total comfort and relaxation. Iti sushupti avastha. This is called as sushupti avastha. Now, we said that the mind resolves, the sense organs resolve. So basically the Sukshma Shariram resolves. Is it possible for the entire Sukshma Shariram to resolve? Or is there something that doesn't get resolved? And if, what is that?
I
Think of all the
think
components. Hmm?
in
Chitta.
moksha it can get resolved.
No. In deep sleep state, I'm talking about the Sukshma Shariram, the components of the Sukshma Shariram getting resolved. Do all 19 components get resolved? If yes, then explain. If no, then also explain.
No.
Not
No.
the prana.
So why?
That which gives you life, that remains.
Which part is that?
I can't explain that.
Which part is that?
Is it
The
the
prana,
Pratma?
pancha
The
prana.
prana. The answer is the pancha prana. The pancha prana does not get resolved when you go to sleep. Why? Because it is needed to keep the body alive. When you wake up, you need your body back, right? If pancha prana also goes, what will happen to the body? So in order to keep the body alive, the pancha prana does not get resolved. It keeps the physiological systems of the body running while you sleep. But everything else gets resolved. So the mind is resolved, the sense organs are resolved, and the organs of action are also resolved. Okay. And so this state of resolution, the seed state, we gave it a different name. Seed state or potential state. What is that?
The karana sharira.
The karana sharira. Okay. So this deep sleep state is basically somewhat, you can say, an experience of the karana sharira. And what is the experience? It is the experience of nothing. And it's very difficult to explain. If I ask you to describe your sleep, what happened in your sleep, there is nothing there to describe, right? But when you wake up, you know that you slept well. So it is a very strange kind of thing to explain or to try to, dissect. So this is the kind of an experience of karana sharira. Okay. This resolution of the mind is basically into the karana state. And so what happens? This individual is now identified with the karana shariram, right? So that is why karana sharira abhimani. In deep sleep state, you are not identified with the physical body, nor are you identified with the subtle body. Why? Because subtle body, most of it is anyway resolved. So what it resolves into is the karana shariram. And so you are identified with the karana shariram. And that entity, the one who is identified with karana shariram, is called as prajna. The name is prajna. Okay, so this is about Sushupti Avastha. Any questions? No? Okay. So with this we have completed the 3 avasthas. So out of the 11 portions of Anatma, we have completed these 3. Sthula Sukshma Karana Shariram, the physical, subtle and causal body. And now today we have also completed Avastha Trayam, which is Jagrat, Swapna and Sushupti Avastha. So what remains out of the 11?
The panchakosha.
Panchakosha remains, and that we will see in the next class. Okay, so I'll stop for today. Okay, we can end with the prayers. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Om Namah Shivaya Om Tat Sat. Thank you all. Enjoy the weekend.
Om Namah Shivaya. Thank you, Medha ji.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Medha ji.
Thank you.
Thank you.